In a crazy turn of events, the private server Turtle WoW has been handed a cease and desist by Blizzard Entertainment under the cause of copyright infringement. Since this is such a hot topic, I figured I'd give my own opinion and just voice what I think about the whole situation. By no means, this is not legal advice. I am not a lawyer. So with that being said, let's get into the video. Blizzard has gone to federal court in California with a 49-page lawsuit against Turtle WoW and the developers behind it. This isn't just a cease and desist letter, it is a full-on lawsuit naming the individuals from the United States, Russia, Germany, and the Netherlands. And the list of charges is enormous. The most egregious part is Blizzard is invoking RICO. This is a law usually associated with mafias, organized crime, and other large-scale fraud. For Blizzard to put Turtle WoW under this label is unprecedented for private servers. Usually Blizzard hands a cease and desist letter claiming copyright infringement, claiming you copied our game, distributing pirated material, and breaking the user license agreement. RICO goes a step further by treating this not only as copyright infringement, but as a criminal enterprise, an organized business conspiracy operating across borders for profit. On top of that, Blizzard isn't only asking for the court to shut down the servers, they want to remove all social media accounts, ISPs to block access to the servers, and they want accounting for every dollar of donations Turtle WoW has received. They are also asking for monetary relief, including actual and statutory damages for copyright infringement. Everyone said it would never happen, but Blizzard is finally taking legal action against Turtle WoW to potentially take down the servers. A lot of my friends and fellow YouTube comments have always told me to try out Classic WoW private servers, specifically Turtle WoW in particular, saying that it is one of the best servers. There's no bots, there's regular updates, you always have instant contact with the GM if you need that. It's just amazing what a small group of developers have created and how much success they've had with this server. It really begs the question of what Blizzard could actually do if they put all of their resources toward a Classic Plus server. So for me, the main reason I never touched a lot of these private servers is because at any point, this exact situation could happen and the server gets shut down, you lose all of your characters, all of your progression is gone, and to me that would be completely demoralizing. I've seen this happen with Nastarius getting shut down in 2015. If you don't know, this was a massive private server running on patch 1.12 with over 800,000 accounts registered and a peak concurrent player base of around 14,000 players. Unfortunately, this server did get shut down in April of 2016. However, it did open the question of how many players wanted a classic vanilla server. Soon after, there was a petition which received over 280,000 signatures, and it gave Blizzard the idea, and the message was clear, that players wanted a vanilla server. And correct me if I'm wrong here, but I've been told several times a handful of the developers for Nastarius went on to work at Blizzard and help development of the classic 2019 servers. You could argue that we're in a similar situation where there's a lot of Classic Plus hype, there's a lot of private servers that are emulating this very well, and the message is very clear to Blizzard at this point that players want a Classic Plus environment. We're seeing the success of old school RuneScape at the moment, and Blizzard just needs to take a page out of some of their books and just do exactly what they're doing right. And that segues me into the next question, and probably the biggest question: what does Blizzard have to do to make a successful Classic Plus server? And this could be answered in one question simply. They have to listen to the community. We're not talking about the minority on Reddit or on the forums. They need to add some kind of system to where players can vote on what changes get added into the game and what changes do not get added. I just constantly think of how successful Season of Discovery was and how much more successful it could have been with this added into the game. We would have likely never seen incursions making it into the game. We wouldn't have had this prolonged phase 3 where the player base dropped off. Not to mention there would have been some pretty cool raid changes that could have been added as well. I for one would have loved to seen a 10-player raid environment for all of the raids. They could have easily tuned the raid down to 10-player difficulty and allowed up to 20 players, similar to what they did with the 20-player raid difficulty, allowing up to 40 players. This would have made for a much more intimate environment, similar to Phase 1 and Phase 2, and I think this would have brought a ton of players back. I, for one, didn't really care for the difficulties being added. I think it did more harm than good, and it only really separated the player base. But anyways, I'm really derailing the conversation at this point. I think that history is once again repeating itself. Nastarius gets shut down, and then soon after, we get an official Classic Vanilla server. I think that Classic Plus is only on the horizon within the next couple of years. As always, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe for more. and I will see you in the next one.